and dive in. I'm recording. For those of you guys who are new, maybe you weren't on the call last week, I am Rachel Mitchell. I'm running this with Ann. Ann, I don't even know how to say your last name, to be honest.
Gauze.
Gauze. I always say Gauss. Okay. And Carrie Mignano. I'll never forget the first time Carrie and I did a coaching opportunity call. I had to stop it and say, Carrie, how do you say your name? Yeah, so little hiccups. But we are co-running this group to help you guys kind of just learn from us. We've made a lot of mistakes. We have been successful in some ways, but we've definitely had to learn by doing. And so that's what we're just sharing with you guys. What has worked for us and just maybe to help you guys grow your business during this kind of slow season. But we are talking tonight about objections, and more coaches than not, I feel like, stop because they get objections. And that is just something that we kind of want to help you guys overcome, share with you how we handle objections and kind of what to expect from people. And that's the biggest thing, I think, really, is that it's not, okay, look, I'll share my slide with you right now. It's not if, it's when. You're always going to get objections. I mean, that's just the nature of this business. Not everybody is going to be gung-ho, ready to jump in and ready to spend $150 on a challenge pack, okay? And so objections are just part of the game. And so, like, if I feel like I've not done my job as a leader. If a coach says, oh no, I'm getting objections, I'm not cut out for this. Getting objections means that it's just part of the job. It's part of what you do as a coach. It's part of conversations. It's part of educating people. And so, like, it's not if, it's when. And so we have to be ready because you will have objections, especially during this season. So I want to ask you guys, what are some of the biggest objections that you get? Feel free to unmute yourself or type it in the sidebar. Carrie or Ann, did your people give you anything that they wanted us to talk about?
Money is always a big one.
Yeah, absolutely, money. Anybody else? Yeah, too much money. Okay. Definitely. I would say then, that is probably, the number one. I have people that say I don't have time, or I'm too busy, or I have, like my family, I can't take time away from my family. I feel like those are kind of easy to overcome. But when it comes to money, obviously, especially now, it is Christmas time. People are buying presents. People are not thinking about getting healthy. And so money is totally the number one thing. And I just put together these things, and then I'm going just to share my thoughts, and I'm going to let, Ann and Carrie share their thoughts as well. Let's see. Random silence. Yeah. Yeah. Random silence when they say they're in and ready and then disappear. Okay. Oh, that's a good one, Tracy. We'll talk about that one too. Okay. So these are kind of my 3 tips when it comes to objections. You have to absolutely, number one, anticipate them. You have to know that they're coming, and you have to address objections in your posts. So this was something that was kind of hard for me to learn. Like, I didn't want to talk about money in my posts. I didn't want to talk about how much Shakeology cost. I don't like to talk about money, first of all, personally. And so, and for me, in the beginning, I felt like Shakeology was a lot. I honestly joined my first challenge group without Shakeology. I don't know why Melanie let me in, but she did. And so, that's a testament to, somebody, you just have a gut feeling about somebody and they just can't afford it or something like that. Don't give up on somebody just because they won't buy Shakeology, but you have to anticipate it, and you have to talk about money in your posts. There are lots of really classy and easy ways to talk about how much Shakeology costs. And there are also really very good pointed and just, cut to the chase, be real about how much it costs. So, I do a lot of comparisons when it comes to the cost of Shakeology. I'll compare it to, obviously, Starbucks is a big one. I'll compare it to the fact that I used to spend like $3 or $4 a day on Diet Coke. I used to stop and get my breakfast every single morning and spend easily $6 on a Diet Coke and a chicken biscuit for breakfast. Hello, I was killing myself. And so, like, you have to just address those objections in your post. When it comes to things like, what are some other ones, Tracy? What did you say? My family doesn't eat the way that I eat. Those are things that, like I talk about. I'll show my family's plate, and then I'll show my plate. Like tonight I made spaghetti, and I didn't eat the noodles, but my kids did. And so, like, you can talk about those different things. And I like to give tips, like, we're always telling you guys to add value. Give tips on how you can maybe get your kids to eat more of the foods that you eat. So, and just you're showing people that, hey, these are things, cost was an issue for me in the beginning. My family doesn't always eat the way that I eat, but I'm still making it work. I'm still making it a priority, and I'm overcoming basically those objections that I had in the beginning. So, educating people through your posts is a huge way to kind of like, by the time people get to me, I feel like in a conversation, they already know basically what Shakeology costs. They know that it's a meal replacement. They know that I didn't buy it at first because I'm continually talking about it in my posts. I'm telling my story over and over and over. So I do have cost objections, but it's really not hard for me to overcome them. Now, does everybody just throw down that, $150 for a challenge pack? No, but they know that it's required for my challenge groups, and they know the value that I place in it personally. My second tip is to definitely relate, because like I said, I did not buy Shakeology in the beginning, and I tell people that all the time. When they say, I just can't afford it, I've got too much going on, my kids have got clothes, it's Christmas, whatever, I tell people, look, I get it. And I usually say it in a voice memo. That's a really big thing. That's a big tip if I could give you. Use that voice memo through Facebook, because, hearing you say that, like hearing them audibly, hearing you audibly say, I totally get it. Like I felt the exact same way, and I did not buy Shakeology at first. And it's that feel, felt, found method that we definitely teach you, that Beachbody teaches you. And it's like, I totally understand how you feel. I felt the exact same way. And I actually did not buy Shakeology in the beginning. But what I found was, and this is exactly what I say to people, I either type it or I use that voice memo. What I found was that, like I wasn't getting results like all the other challengers were getting. What I found was that I was losing weight, but, I was still struggling with sugar cravings, and I was still having trouble getting breakfast thrown together. And I was still, like drinking Diet Cokes. And so I just cut out all that stuff. I used that money and replaced my breakfast with it, with Shakeology. And what I found was, like, I feel so much better. I have more energy. It helped my sugar cravings. My cholesterol was cut in half after using it for a while. And, it's worth it. The investment was worth it. And honestly, I don't miss the money anymore because I budgeted it into my grocery budget. And it pretty much evens out. I actually save money because I don't go to the drive-thru. I eat the foods that I buy because I meal plan, and so Shakeology just makes sense for me. And so that's how I relate. With, I understand you didn't want to buy it. I didn't either, but this is what I found. And so my last tip is to educate. People have like the craziest misconceptions, and it's because there's so much other crazy stuff out there. There are wraps, there are juices, there are pills, there are, I don't even know what else out there. There are like, I don't know. There's crazy stuff out there. And so people have this misconception that Shakeology is just another crazy something. It's another crazy get skinny quick scheme. It's another crazy multi-level marketing or like pyramid scheme, we're just in it to sell you something to make a buck. But people have misconceptions, and you have to anticipate that, and you have to help them see what Shakeology really is, that it's a meal replacement. People are, when I tell them that I don't take a vitamin anymore because Shakeology is my vitamin, they're like, oh, because, people will throw down some money on some vitamins. Okay. And so like, you just have to help them see what it is. And again, you do that through your posts, and you do that by just having genuine and real conversations with them. And I think that one of the biggest mistakes that I made for like a year as a coach was when I got the money objection. I would be like, okay, sorry, see you later, and run. And don't do that. Don't do that. Like, if you really believe in what you're doing as a coach, if you really believe in Shakeology, you stick with it. You educate them, and you keep that conversation going. And one of my things that I try to teach my coaches to do is that even if they say no, I can't afford it, I'm not doing it, I just, it's not for me right now, don't walk away and not leave them with something. Okay. And so I think that is what really shows how genuine we are of like our belief in what we're doing and what we're telling people. Like, I always, when I end a conversation and someone's like, I just can't do it right now. Today it happened to me. It was somebody who has been wanting to buy a challenge pack for months, and she was ready to commit again. And then she decided, I just can't spend the money right now. And, I went through this whole thing that I have been telling you guys, like just now. I talked about the fact that, she could incorporate it into her grocery budget, that it would, it's a meal replacement, that it replaces her vitamins, she's like, that all makes sense to me, but I just can't do it right now. And I was like, totally okay. I totally understand. And I want to help you in any way I can. My challengers do have to have a challenge pack, but if you want a meal plan, I can give you a meal plan. Or if you want just some healthy tips, just keep following me. Or if you need some recipe ideas for you and your kids, like, just let me know. And so like, you walk away from the conversation having given them something, given them hope, and letting them know that when they're ready, you are there. Okay. So let's see, somebody said something too. I had a potential customer tell me that she gets Shakeology for a private group on Facebook. I would say that's not legal. That's what I would say, honestly. And when people tell me that they get Shakeology from random places, I'm like, check the date, because there are no preservatives. It has a shelf life of like a year. And if somebody's selling you their old Shakeology, there's a really good chance it's out of date. And I always tell them, that the best source is just straight from the people that produce it directly. But what else? What questions do you guys, or Ann or Carrie, you guys can probably add some good stuff to what I said. As far as the money objection, like, I know there are lots of other things.
Yeah, Anne, sorry. It looks like you're about to talk too.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I honestly think that you covered it really well. Like, I use very, very similar methods. I cannot stress how important it is to publicly talk about objections on your profile. This has helped me so much in terms of not getting it so much in my private messages. And so I will, just like Rachel, talk about how I used to stop at Starbucks, and literally it was $7 between a latte and a bagel, or a latte and a croissant or whatever. And I will talk about it over and over and over again. And that's where I think people miss the point or miss the bar, is that they'll say it one time and they'll think that that's enough. But it's not enough, because as you guys know, we're adding new people to our network every day, right? So you're adding people every single day that are coming in. So you have to repeat the information, but also you have to remember that, we live in a very busy world. Like, people are not always on social media at the exact same time. So they don't see every single one of your posts. There's like a million different advertisements, like drawing them different directions at every moment of the day. And so it does take people anywhere between 5 and 9 times of seeing something for it to register in their brain. So if, let's say, you have this follower that's been following you for a while, and they want to try a program, but they're probably most likely going to tell you that they don't want Shakeology, but they're waiting, they're just kind of watching you, and they see it maybe really quickly that you say something about the price of Shakeology on your Facebook, and they kind of registers, they're like, meh, whatever. Then maybe you do it again and they miss the post. Then maybe you do it a third time and they see it again and they're like, okay, she's kind of serious about this. Maybe it really does help. Then maybe you post a transformation story about how somebody talks about how their body or their insides or their blood, cholesterol levels, whatever, changed because of Shakeology. And it's like that fourth, fifth time that they're like, all right, sign me up, So and not that I'm saying you have to do it in the same exact way. You don't always have to relate it to a Starbucks or whatever, but find creative ways to talk about Shakeology in different ways all the time, and talk about how there's antioxidants in there. Talk about how there's pre and probiotics. I mean, probiotics literally have changed my life. You guys, I can't go on and on about probiotics. So it's something I need to talk about more about how Shakeology has probiotics in it. And those things don't just, they aren't just talking about the ingredients, but they're justifying the cost. So if you are finding creative ways to talk about what you are saying privately in your messages, publicly on your social media, you will not get as many objections when you're talking to people. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. But when I do get messages, I will do exactly what Rachel says. I use the feel, felt, found method. Exactly. Like, I get it. I understand how you feel. I felt the same way because I didn't start Shakeology for the first 2 years, but here's what I found, XX, whatever. So I think that's an awesome method. And you guys, this doesn't go just for the money objections for Shakeology. Sit down one day and literally write a list of every single objection you get. Start keeping an ongoing list. As you're talking to customers, keep an ongoing list of every single objection and find ways to talk about every single one of them publicly. Talk about, I'm sure there's going to be a number of ones that we're talking about here today, but there's so many different objections. And the more that you can find ways to talk about it publicly on your social media to kind of nix those objections up front, the less and less you're going to get in your private messages. So anyway, that was a little ramble there, but Anne, do you have anything to add?
I do. Okay. So, one thing that wasn't mentioned, because I think you guys covered it awesome, is personal development, which my team knows that I'm real big on it. And I can sniff them from about 5 miles away if they are not reading, because that is just huge. And when you're not reading or when I'm not reading, I can tell right away. And so just even myself. So the more that you read and the more confident that you get, then when people are saying no to you, you're like, nah, oh, well, if you say no, somebody else is going to say yes. I'm going to get to that person that needs my help. And you are just, somebody that's either I'm planting a seed with and that's going to come back to me at some point, or you're just getting me closer to the people that I need to help. So that's my mindset. When somebody tells me no, I no longer look at it as though like, oh my gosh, they said no to me. I bothered them. Now I've gotten 50 objections in 3 days and I'm not any good at this. I'm past that part, but I remember being there and I know how hard that was. And it's the personal development. And when you're skipping that, you're skipping your confidence level. The thing about the objections and the posts, when we were at the New Leader Conference, Carrie and I went in LA last January, and Bonnie Engel, who's the number 2 coach right now, she mentioned that in her presentation. And that was such a huge tip. And if you go to her page, you're going to see that she addresses every single objection that she's ever gotten in her posts, and she does it daily. Daily she's doing it. So you're no longer getting that money objection usually, because it's all spelled out for you there. I was the same way. I went to Starbucks every single day. I added up one December how much I spent on Starbucks before I started Shakeology. Almost $300, people. What? Like, that's crazy. And people don't realize it because they're getting us, $7 at a time, or you don't leave there without $6, but it's little by little. And people don't feel like it's $300 a month because it's $6 a day. It feels like a little bit. Or they stop at a gas station and they get a soda and they get something small and it doesn't feel like it's large. So what I do is I usually keep a list of the objections that I get, but then I keep a list of the things I have to keep reminding myself of how I felt.
and I keep a list of how I felt as well. And then now this time of year, I want you to start making a list of what people are thinking about. So they're not maybe thinking about fitness right now, but they will be in 2 weeks. And where are they going to go? They're probably going to sign back up at the gym. Okay. And what's going to be at the gym? They're going to have to stick their kids in a slimy, nasty daycare, right? With a ton of germs. They're going to have to be watch somebody get on an elliptical and sweat on it and not wash it off. I mean, I'm a germaphobe, so like those are the things that like drive me crazy. Everybody and their mother is going to want to take a class. It's going to be packed. They're going to feel like they're overweight. They're not going to want to go in and see all these people. They're going to be paying all this money. They may not know what they're doing. They don't want to go into the weight room and walk around aimlessly because they have no idea what they're doing, but they don't want to spend millions of dollars on a trainer. Maybe they don't want to do a contract. Maybe they don't want to, be tied down to something that's a year. Start making a list of things that maybe people are thinking about right now and start talking about how Beachbody is a solution to those things. You don't have to drop your kids off at a nursery there. Okay. Your house is nice and clean. You don't have to, wait for somebody to get off a machine. You've got a 30-minute program that's right there that you can do quickly and on your own time. It's cold as crap outside. I'm not getting up and going into my car and letting it, de-thaw before I have to go drive 20 minutes, work out, drive home. Those are the things that we need to be talking about right now because, whether you're a mom or whether you're super busy, the gym does take a lot of time. So addressing all of those things publicly is just so important, and making a list and going back to it. And as Carrie said, just doing it over and over again, because you should be adding at least 3 to 5 people to your list every single day. And so those new people have no idea who you are, what you're doing. And so you have to keep, telling your story and sharing the objections that way. As far as the money is concerned, the other thing that I do a lot is I'll post about how I have no problem spending $140 on makeup, right? Or going to get my hair done, or, buying a wreath for my front door. But, when it comes to a fitness program that I'm going to have forever, I can go back to that fitness program a million times. That nutrition program, how long have I used that? Like I would spend $140 a million times over again if I knew what it was going to do for my life. And you have to share that. And the education part, a lot of people aren't comfortable with what Shakeology does for you. You may not understand all the amazing things that it has in it. So as Rachel said, educate yourself. Go to Shay Stanford's website. She is one of the coaches on the Bombshell Dynasty, and she has she's a nutritionist, I think, she used to work in the pharmaceutical sales. And so that's how you spell it, Shay Stanford. And she has this amazing blog with videos and myths debunked about Shakeology. And just, you could get a million post ideas just from her blog alone. So go ahead and educate yourself on what Shakeology does for you, because if you don't know why it's worth $130, nobody else is going to understand why it's worth $130. So, that part is really, really big too. Does anybody have any questions about objections or anything in particular where you're getting stuck? I know December is a very slow month, okay? And what I told my team last week was, I want you to expect no, okay? I want you to expect that everybody you're going to talk to this month is going to say no. But you are going to get a yes. You just have to keep going. Don't go in there thinking everyone's going to drop $140 on this, but there are people who have, wanted this for a long time, and maybe it's a great gift option. Start talking about how maybe they can ask for this for Christmas, or, that they're worth investing in themselves, and that this $140 is going to last them, not like a gym for a couple of months, but forever. It's going to be there forever for them. So make it so that they are intrigued and they can see that this is really going to be something that would be awesome to add to their life. Does somebody write something? Oh gosh, that's a long one. Sorry, I'm just looking at these.
Jessica asked about the random silence. Do you want to address that, or do you want me?
Let me see. Oh, was that earlier? Oh, okay, random silence. So, okay, word on the street is that either the challenge pack's going away or they're just not going to be on sale anymore. What is it? I don't know.
I don't really know. They said on the National Wake Up Call they're not going to be on sale after like a week or two into January.
So what I did is I have a couple people like on the fence right now. And so they did go silent. I even sent them a link and everything, and it's just like dead silence. So I went back and I messaged them all because guys, people are busy. Like I'm busy too. You look down at your phone and you read it and you may be in the shopping, you might be grocery shopping or something like that. And you're like, oh, I'll get back to her in a little bit, and you forget. So following up is key. It's huge. So if they're silent, like today I went back and I messaged everybody and I just followed up with them and I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to start opening up my registration for my January group. And I wanted to let you know I only take 10 people because I really want to give personalized attention to the people that are in my group. So I know I sent you a link. I didn't want you to miss the ball because I will be advertising this publicly and I don't want you to lose your spot. Did you get a chance to fill out my form? So that way it's a question at the end. It's short, it's to the point, and it just, makes them kind of go back to, oh crap, it's just creating a sense of urgency because they could lose their spot, right? So, that is something that I would do. I would end with a question mark, and I would definitely create some sense of urgency there that they could, in fact, miss their spot maybe. Was there any other questions that I missed? The form is a WooFoo form, and that just, you could even copy mine, but it is just a form that just makes you look super business-like, right? So it's organized. It's free. You can go to woofoo.com. I think it's WOFOO maybe, or I don't know how to spell it. Or maybe WUFOO, I don't know. But anyway, you go there, you can fill out a form, and then you can attach it, and people can fill out their application. And as you start to get more each month, it just really keeps you organized so you're not losing your people. It's just a really nice place where it has it all there. People can fill out what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what they really need in a program, what they're interested in. Again, you can, WUFOO. But Jessica, you can see mine and you can just copy what I have in there or tweak it to how you want it. Yeah. So you can also choose this thing where it either texts you when you have a new one, or it will email you to let you know that you have a new application, which is awesome because it comes right to my phone. I can see somebody has filled it out. I do that for the coach forms as well.
Yeah, I didn't have the coach form set to email me, and I went back and like somebody had filled one out like months ago, and then I followed up with her, and she was like, "I'm not interested anymore." So,
oops.
Yeah. But the thing about the dead silence is that happens to all of us. It's not just you. It's not just some of you guys. Like it happens to all of us. Like I actually went down through my Coach Mobile app today, because you know how like when you sign somebody up through the Coach Mobile, it'll say sent this under the status bar. It says sent, started, and completed. I think like you wouldn't believe how many people started there to fill it out and haven't done it. And so some of them were just errors and I had to resend it. But still, like I went through that today and I just started messaging people who I'd sent it 2 months ago who had never responded back. They never finished it. When I followed up, they didn't say anything. And so like I just started messaging those people and did exactly what Ann said. Like I said, my January challenge group starts in a few weeks. I wanted to make sure, I know you really wanted this when we talked last, and I wanted to make sure that you had a spot if you wanted it. There's only a few spots available. So if you want it, I need to know, are you still interested? And so like I had a couple people message. I mean, like that was months ago. Like all that happened months ago and they never responded. And so like follow up, even if it's much later, like people, it just may not be their time. I think Anne even said that in her post in our group today. It may just not be their time. And so you just have to be really patient with people, honestly, and just realize that even if you get a no, it's not a reflection of you. It's just where that person may be at this time. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say also like objections, not just with your challenge groups, but also address your coaching, things about coaching in your posts as well that are objections, or just concerns, I guess I should say, that people have had, because chances are if one person's concerned about it, a lot of people are watching you and may be concerned about it. Like, do they have to have a transformation? How much time does it really take? Whatever, you're getting about coaching, address those, publicly as well, because if you're having problems with recruiting new coaches, then, that's part of it. You're probably not talking about the business side enough. You guys have questions?
Yeah. What other objections? Any other objections that you get that are common? Anybody can think of?
Who all is doing their personal development every day? Oh, look, no one. Oh, we got one thumb up.
Fantastic.
Yep. I definitely do it now, but I'll tell you, there's plenty of days where I was skipping it. And, and even now, like sometimes I'll skip a day or two, and those are the days where I'm like, I don't know what to post, or my head's not like in the right spot, or and then I'm like, oh gosh, I haven't read in 2 days. So, I've told a lot of people as well, if you're in the car, listen to a podcast, listen to a motivational video. Maybe you don't have time to sit there and listen or read, 10 pages of a book, but if you're doing laundry, stick some earbuds in. Just get it in somehow, because it's a game changer in every single aspect of this business, and you're going to feel it quickly if you don't do it.
Yeah, as a new coach, I had the Slight Edge on CD, and I swear I listened to that for like 4 months, and I just listened to it over and over and over, because like I drew, and I still read the Compound Effect. Like I still read it. It's right here. Like I still take notes and like tab my pages, and I mean, it still speaks to me. So, we're never at a point to where you don't need personal development. Like it's do or die for coaching.
And Tracy, you don't have to, if you can't read a book from cover to cover, if that's hard for you to do, that's okay. A lot of times I'll look at books. I have this huge thing of books, and I'll just say, what am I battling with today? Is it confidence? Is it, time management? Is it whatever? And then I'll look through there and I'll read a specific chapter that's speaking to me that day. It doesn't have to be a book from cover to cover.
I don't know who said that, but like, what do you say to people who are already doing something to get healthy that's working for them? I mean, it just depends. Like I usually say that's great. If it's working for you, that's wonderful. And I would say, have you ever thought about helping other people get healthy and being a coach yourself? Yeah. I mean, you can always segue into something else. And just people, you would be surprised at how people react to being invited to coaching. Usually it's a compliment, like it's such a huge compliment. And so like, don't ever be afraid to ask somebody if they're interested in coaching, because like, it's an incredible opportunity. And, so if they've got their fitness down, you can ask them about Shakeology, explain the benefits. They would probably understand it better than anyone. And definitely talk about coaching and what you do as a coach, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. Anybody else? Okay. So maybe like your assignment for tomorrow is to handle an objection in your post. Whether it's cost, whether it's time, whether it's family, like handle an objection in your post. Whether it's food, I don't eat. Gosh, Tracy has the most incredible Challenger story. She has a Challenger that's lost 110 pounds. Is that right?
Wow.
115 now. And he did not eat a single vegetable when he started. So.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's a huge misconception, is they don't understand what you're eating. They see those little containers all over the place, but they think you're literally eating like this much of something. So showing them like a plate of what you eat. A lot of people think you're drinking 2 shakes a day, or you're drinking 3 shakes a day, and you're not really eating food. People just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. Like, you have to kind of paint that picture for them, I think. And we'll do that too, won't we, Carrie and Rachel? We will address an objection tomorrow. I'm already thinking of some.
Yes. I'm going to think of a creative way.
Yeah.
A way that I haven't tried before to address objection. And I think for everybody that's in our 2-week push group, we'll have everybody post it as well. But if you guys are not, feel free to post it in your team pages that you're in. Like, give each other ideas. That's the best way. And just to give you guys an idea of something that I do that helps, whatever you use, like maybe use Google Docs. I personally use Evernote. It's a free application and I love it. And I actually keep post ideas. So like, I actually just started doing this. Let me share my screen for like a second because I know that we have time. Like, not a joke, you guys. You guys see this? So like, I keep challenge group jabs is what I call them. Jab, 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 right hook. So like, here's a post, for example, food is my medicine, how I haven't gotten sick in a year and a half. And I believe it's because I used Shakeology. Like you can see, I have different kinds of things. I have challenge group objections. Like I said, I just kind of started doing this. So I'm still kind of organized and everything, but here's coaching objections. Oh no, I need to switch this one. This one's a challenge group objection. See here, it's the Shakeology is too expensive. But like I keep different kind of post ideas. So anyway, something I kind of just started, but it's really helping me get organized. So, and make sure that I can kind of actually not reinvent the wheel and just kind of reuse some of the posts and maybe just change them up a little bit or use a different picture. Because a lot of times I think what I've struggled with in the past, and this is something Ann and I were talking about recently, like I can't come up with any ideas for posts. Like why can't I come up with any ideas? I just feel like my creative juice is gone. And I started going back to the On This Day a year ago because I've been a coach for 2 years. And so I started going back and seeing what posts that I made like last year and the year before. And there were some really great posts. And who's to say that if I posted it today, anybody would ever remember what I said, right? So I just started kind of keeping them in an Evernote file. Good posts that I've had that have got a lot of traction or that I've, been talking about objections publicly, things like that, just so that I can recreate them, reuse them. Even if it's 3 months down the road, most likely nobody's going to remember it. So why not reuse them? Or your morning motivation posts. So like Rachel does this a lot. I know if you guys follow Melanie Mitchell every single day, she does a fitness post in the morning and has some sort of motivation behind it. I, again, get like brain dead in the morning. Like, what am I trying to say? I don't know. I don't have anything motivating to say. I can barely get my own ass out of the bed to get to do my workout. So what I started doing was just kind of started compiling these posts that I've had and just tweaking them different days. Like if you have the same kind of motivational topic, just kind of writing a few different sentences about it and just reusing it. So anyway, that's another tip for you guys, especially with talking about objections publicly. If you guys do tomorrow, try to find some way to be creative about an objection, save it, and then do it again on Wednesday. Do another one, do a different objection, save it. Just kind of keep an arsenal of posts that you can always use and go back. That way, when you're sometimes wondering what should I post about, or I don't have any creative juice right now, you can kind of go back and reuse something. So anyway, just a tip.
Yeah, my posts from last year now are starting, because that's when I started like posting twice a day and then 3 times. And so now they're starting to come up every day and I'm like, yes, I'll use that. So I keep like saving it. And then, yeah, you just put a different picture on it and tweak the wording a little bit.
For sure.
Good to go. Something's always better than nothing, right?
For sure. All right. Any last questions, thoughts, ideas? Was this helpful, you guys?
And also, sorry, one more thing. If you're having a hard time, like even talking to people this time of the month, which is hard, I told my team last week, like, Transformation Tuesday, use yourself, okay? If it's not if you don't have a physical transformation, use your mental one. Whatever it is, use something about yourself, tell your story, and show people what this has done for you. You're going to get a lot of traction on that. When you do, then go back to each person personally and message them and just say, thank you so much for your support on my page. I really appreciate that. Sharing my journey is not easy, and I appreciate the fact that you're, commenting or that you're supporting me in some way. And that just gets the conversation going with somebody. So if you feel like you don't have any conversations going, that's a great way to get started. And tomorrow is Transformation Tuesday. So
yeah. And another thing, I think this is an awesome time of year just to add a massive value. Share recipes, share workout tips, share, whatever, just add tons and tons of value so that people are coming back to your page for more and more because, again, you're going to be where they come to when they want to get healthy in January if you're putting good stuff out there. And definitely share that story over and over and over. Even if you get sick of writing it and hearing it, other people don't. Okay, guys. All right. If you don't have any more questions, I guess we're done. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you back here the same time next week, and we're gonna keep giving you some stuff in that 2-week push group. And we hope you guys have a good night. And we're looking for your post tomorrow. Okay, handling objections. All right. Good night, guys.